Good morning. Good morning. Here we go. Another possibly confusing type of a day. Maybe things will get going here. Hard to say. We got the Fed thing coming tomorrow and the Saudi things, which gap the markets. But the markets did, what they should. And sort of what I explained was the expectation of what should happen if the markets were truly as bullish as they appeared to be. A second here. From this consolidation, which was bullish, rather than getting up to the resistance and falling back down to support, it went sideways here. We went over this at this time, a week and a half ago, whatever it was, how prices went sideways at this resistance, and that suggested the potential to break out above here and possibly new highs. Obviously, it didn't make the new highs, and it stopped right at resistance. And yesterday, with the news that was coming out, or did come out with the attack on the Saudi oil fields, it was uncertain as to whether, the markets would sell off considerably on that news based on possible retaliation and what was going to happen and the uncertainty of that situation, which, we really don't know the extent of it. We read what's in the news, and then, as things unfold, we gather more information. In any event, I think it was, what is the reaction to news, whether it was yesterday or an earnings report or whatever it might be? What's the reaction to the news? What's the reaction to a move up into resistance? Same as here. Does it go back down to support, or does it hang up there in a tough, let's say hanging tough, where buyers step up on any little dip, and we get a candle like this that says, hey, it's ready to go, or a correction bar like this that says it's going to go higher. And here we got a topping tail in an area of resistance. Now, a topping tail at resistance is to be respected, of course, and it's suggesting a pullback. But the depth of retracement from the low to the high is bullish. So with yesterday's news and the gap down, one of the things I said was, look, if the markets are just going to absorb that news, buyers are going to step up, or if they're going to interpret that news as being, well, it's really not so bad, things are a little shaky here, but in any event, the big picture suggests that it's going to continue to go higher. And that is the result that we got yesterday. And that's still unfolding, meaning one bar doesn't change a trend. It doesn't change the uncertainty of the moment. And that's why, okay, in a situation like this, maybe it takes, this is a daily chart, maybe it takes 2 to 3 days to digest this resistance. And it may take 2 to 3 days, we got this Fed thing coming out, to digest what's going on here. So the depth of retracement was bullish. Yesterday's bar, while it didn't completely turn around the gap and move retracing into Friday's bar, it did okay. So now, looking at the intraday charts, we see that moved up to the reference points that I pointed out yesterday. As it pushed up into the gap fill area, it came down, it retested, and now we're basically sitting in no man's land, so to speak. That being said, we do have, let me just get rid of the dot here for a moment. We do have a little trading range to go on. And so we've got a little double top up here. We've got a retest of this area down there. And the assumption is now, if it can clear this high, well, maybe it can attack the prior high. When it gets up there, we'll have to see the reaction again. Considering the news coming out tomorrow, the Fed meeting, it seems unlikely it'll keep going, but who knows? We'll just follow it on a smaller time frame, and, for example, the 5-minute chart, and see if it continues to trend. On the other hand, if it breaks below this low area down here, well, that kind of opens up the door to coming down to this level. So, we'll just have to see how it plays out. And right now, it's chopping sideways. So a pattern like this is to stand aside and let others, battle it out, so to speak, to see who's going to win and whether they can clear this area, which doesn't leave a lot of room to the high. So it's not a huge opportunity. Better, looks like more of an opportunity, just eyeballing it to the downside, but and with the weekly up at this resistance, so on and so forth. We'll just have to see which way it goes. We may just be chopping sideways here, even within this little minor range, waiting for tomorrow. So point is, we recognize reference points, we recognize the trend in multiple time frames, and then we see, a break of this support suggests what? Does it suggest a huge correction? No. Does it a minor correction? Yes. And with tomorrow's news, you could get jiggles. So we're not in a good point in time here in the market environment when we're waiting for news and the potential for this Saudi news to, something else to unfold in the moment. So the uncertainty continues on a different level. So there's tremendous amount of uncertainty here. It resolves itself, breaking out, goes up to the next level, and now we're back to a different level of uncertainty. And that's been the MO of this market and what we're dealing with in the moment. The NQ is pretty much the same, relative weakness. We got, the same situation here with, support and resistance. And if it breaks below even this little, you can see kind of eyeballing that as a little head and shoulders top. If it was to break below this level with inside this trading range, maybe we get a move down to the low. So above the highs, we look for it to go up. Either way, it doesn't look like there's great opportunities here for big trending moves at the moment. So we look at what is, and that produces our bias, and then we'll see how it all unfolds. Dow looked like it was going to go over the brink yesterday. It held up. It's kind of grinding lower here now. So it's broken its range. And will it be a breakdown failure? Maybe it keeps grinding to the downside. So this looks like it can keep pulling back. The other markets might join that, or if they were to rally, right? If this was to break out, and this is why we watch multiple markets if we're trading these markets. If the NQs and the ES were to start to rally, this breakdown here would very likely turn out to be a fake out, right, or a breakdown failure. So we'll see how that plays out. The Russell, it showed relative strength yesterday. And so this is just chopping around here, pulling back. Not a great opportunity there either. And that is what we have pretty much across the board at the moment. Oil giving back a little bit of yesterday's gain. That was kind of, I shouldn't say fabricated, but out of the context of what was going on here because of the news. And the event it gapped above that area and came up into the next area. So if we, just ignore news and look at the charts, there's a trading range going on here, and the gap out of this little area, different than the markets, but moving up into its reference point of resistance. We'll just have to see how this unfolds. Does it digest this? Does it go back down? I think some time, it could be another week of chopping around here, and this was to break out. That would be pretty bullish for oil to be going higher, because if that is going higher, and if bonds here follow through to the downside with this measured move that I spoke about yesterday, which means interest rates are going up, that's all pointing to a bigger view that the economy, this whole uncertainty about yield curve inversion and recessions, which already appeared to be dissipating, that's going to be confirmation of that. And I think the markets then break out to new all-time highs. Howard, 1, 2, 3 on oil. I'm seeing your question, if that's what you were referring to. It could be. While it's not a wide range type of bar where the opens and closes are at an extreme, it certainly could be. However, a pattern, a candlestick pattern, is one part of the analysis, and then we have to combine that with trend support and resistance to put the odds in our favor. A pattern alone I wrote about in the recent chart of the week. If you didn't read it, it's worth visiting. It's right on the website in the chart of the week there. The fact that this is occurring in an area of resistance is not as bullish or big an opportunity as if this was happening up here with the potential to go up into that resistance area up in that area. So yes, 1, 2, 3 patterns are easy to recognize. This was a breakout, so that part of the criteria is there. So far, we've got an inside day, but it's at resistance. So we'll see how it plays out here. We'll keep an eye on it. Bonds, we already looked at that. And so wide range bar, inside day. So here's a 1, 2, 3 type of pattern, which could turn into a 1, 2, 3, 4, meaning this turns into a topping tail bar, and it moves under this low tomorrow, opening up the door to a continuation. Right, so this was your correction type of a bar after the initial move. And so we'll see if this continuation pattern, which has lower odds of the first one, but it still could work. So gold up a little bit here, but just consolidating after the break of support. This has the look on the weekly chart that it should be able to go lower. So kind of at a point of wait and see as far as gold goes. Silver, actually down a bit. This could be a good 1, 2, 3, 4, looking for a move to the downside. We'll see, that gapped up, and 1, 2, 3 patterns are supposed to stay in the lower half of the wide range bar. And you see it's already retraced up here. But if it was to break below yesterday's low, I think that opens up the door to a move to the downside. So, we'll see what happens there. Transports, we always take a look at those. They brought up the rear. They pushed up above the prior high. I think it was the only market that was correcting, and this was showing relative weakness, that came off and actually pushed up through its resistance area. So that's a good sign as well. So when we look at, interest rates going higher, bonds lower, oil going up, thinking about, is the economy on solid footing, you want to see the transports in alignment with that, meaning they're going higher as well. But as you can see, they are just in a trading range as well. So we've got the same picture no matter where we look to different degrees. And that leads to a choppy market environment, which makes it more difficult to make bigger money, so to speak, from trending moves, because the trending moves, they don't exist for very long, meaning, a few days and then it's over. And a lot of what happened, over those days was on a big gap as well. So not the best of market environments here. However, maybe things are shaping up to where if they can break to new all-time highs, it opens up the opportunity for those big trending moves, as, difficult as that possibly might see to accept as a possibility after this market has had such a tremendous run here, even though it's had some decent corrections along the way. You can't ignore the fact that the higher time frames are in uptrends and they've got a void up above. So this whole time of uncertainty may just be resolving itself to a continuation of the long-term trend. And we'll just have to see, wait and see and get that rest of that information to support a stronger bias one way or the other. And I think that's black and white as to where we are, and we'll see what unfolds in the coming days. So that's it. All yours, Dan.
All right, thanks. Good morning, everyone. So here's this mix that one of you were asking about. I like it. I love these gap reversals. Still in a downtrend, but just for a short-term Friday put spread, gapping up, price void, I like it. MT Green, can do me a favor and put your drop down to all panelists and attendees and anyone else. I want to look at opens, but let me go ahead and look at MT Green. He's asked me about run long. It's a bottoming pattern, but I like the breakout there with a price void. I like the weekly support. I can't tell if it's gapping down or up today, but yeah, I'll put that on the list. He's asking about Starbucks short. You missed your ideal. We actually were. No, we weren't. We had we actually got caught in this breakout failure there. Maybe 30-minute low, I don't know, but it's down 3 bars on support, so it's not ideal there. Tosco, no way. It's down 5 bars, greater than 100% retracement. So the weekly looks lower, nice engulfing, but instead you want to short a bounce or let it go. You know, I'm just not going to do it here because where would your stop be? Let's look at opens in the weekly options trader, ADI. We have a half lot of a put spread, UNH, put spread that expires Friday. It's the 230s, so we just need that melting ice cube to keep melting into Friday. Hess, we added yesterday. Beautiful, beautiful gap breakout daily, weekly. This was one of the best oil stocks that we found. Lift had a nice move yesterday, so we sold a put spread for next week actually. And finally, NTs for this Friday, we have a bear call credit spread on this little breakdown. Look at the swing and options trader, Cara. Been in this for a while, little marijuana play. It's doing nothing, but it's one of the strongest pot stocks we could find when we scanned the whole thing. At least it's in an uptrend on the weekly and monthly. CSL. We bought that beautiful gap breakout. 143. It actually stopped out yesterday. Let me close it out. Wow, that you know, tomorrow we're going to be talking about shock patterns and failed patterns in MT Live. That was one right there. Now that wasn't a tradable one to turn around and go short, but yesterday's gap under that green bar was a small island reversal at all-time highs. And so I said yesterday morning that he was on probation. And of course, we're going to get stuck in failed patterns because technical analysis is not 100% accurate, obviously. Shop, we're in this long stock. Expedia, I saw a print up $2 this morning, but no, it doesn't look real. We have a covered call for Friday. Hess, we're short naked puts in this letter. K Kilo, we bought this little beautiful gap breakout on this day, and it's been dead money also, but we got to sit through it. It's a bullish daily and weekly. Yeah, yeah, we'll go through the gappers here in a minute. MEI, we're long stock, and that actually trail stopped out at a gain yesterday. Monroe, we're short stock. Mighty Mo, we're short stock with a stop over yesterday's high. MR is a little oil stock that we went bottom fishing on this day. So we have a huge open gain, like almost 25% already. And I moved the stop to under this red bar's low. Oscar Charlie, we're in this as a longer term trade. We're long stock and short puts. It's retraced, but I looked about legging into a covered call yesterday, but the premium wasn't very nice. NXPI, We had a bull call debit spread, and we trail stopped out on a nice profit yesterday. NEOG, we're still in trail mode. Stopped yesterday's low. It held the stop in trail mode by 2 cents. Oki, we sold half at 77 bucks yesterday, and then we also legged into a covered call. Yeah, we're out of NXPI, had a nice profit. And so the stop for the back half is yesterday's low. PVAC was a new oil I got us into yesterday. Beautiful gap over this red bar. So that's a beautiful gap trade. Breakout, big old new low retest on the weekly. Finally, whiskey. We had a core trade. We're short the $35 calls for this Friday. And that was the third time we've sold calls to lower cost basis. And we'll just do it again if necessary. We'll roll it to next week at a higher strike price. Okay, run, that's what you asked about. Adobe, possible breakdown failure for a put spread. Support on the weekly. Kerbal, 171, big old gap up here. It trades very whippy, so I would never do it as a directional. But McGraw, let's keep an eye on this for a put spread. APOG had earnings, gapping up to 45 bucks. That's a big gap, but no setup to do anything. ISRG, McGraw's watching this one. Yeah, I mean, if it can get through this, then it looks like it can go up to 540. KHC has had a beautiful run. Wow, out of this bottoming pattern. Gapping under 1, 2, 3, 4 bars now with a price void. So that is a call spread candidate. Baidu, I like that it's above the 20 and 50. I like this 100% retracement. I like this 3-day controlled pullback to the top part of this over yesterday's high. That looks like not only a directional, but put spread. Zynga was up here a little bit, but it's coming in and that's a mess. You're gone. NSC, this is one we were watching yesterday, a little railroad that had a bottoming pattern, and it took out Friday's high, even with Barron's bearish weekend article. Boeing, there's nothing to do quite yet, but you see here, 100% retracement to resistance. If this were to close like this on Friday, then that's a bullish 1, 2, 3. As long as it holds like right here, the 50% of this bar, then it's a put spread idea, but it has to break out. It's just a watch. Tigo, this looks like an ADR the way it trades, gapping under 50 bucks. So bearish gap, but nothing to do. Home Depot kind of downgrade. It could be a short-term Friday call spread candidate. Splunk, I like this one, 118.50. I got it up here in the upper right, 5-minute chart. So this is one of my favorite gappers here today. Still in a downtrend, but it went up. And now it's gapping out of this with a price void. So I will be looking for a put spread for Friday right here, 114. Shop getting ugly gap under this green bar, still in a downtrend. I don't know. It's in an uptrend on the weekly. It's climactic on the monthly with a 2-bar reversal, even though the month's not over. And a nasty, so I got conflicting time frames here. So it would just, maybe 30-minute low, we short a call spread for Friday. Corning not having a good day, 28 bucks, gapping here, but no pattern. This is this a yeah, this is a McGraw trade. Yesterday was what we call our event, big old green breakout bar. I would love this as a 1, 2, 3. Ever was on my list from yesterday. Breakdown failure, snap right back. I can't tell where it's gapping, no volume. Funko as a bearish, oh, that's a bearish gap. This actually was on my long watch list. If it could rest, because it's extended right now. Beautiful breakout on the weekly, but with the gap down, it's the pattern's ruined now. Fizzler, Greg mentioned yesterday, if it can get out of here and close strong. XLV is an ETF we're watching. NSC we mentioned. DVA was on my list yesterday. That had a nice day. CPERT, I like this igniting bar on volume, and it's just chopping around. That's still worth watching. SDC, a new IPO. Lyft, we entered yesterday, put spread. Let's look at the fangs, and then I am done. Spiders here, a mess. IWM, extended. Q's relatively flat. There's a Bitcoin doing nothing. Apple is a mess, but at least it closed green with the market closing lower yesterday. Netflix, watching for it to bottom, but it's still not ready. Google, actually, Tesla, just the pullback into a wide range bar, kind of like that Baidu, over yesterday's high. That's a put spread idea for Friday. Amazon, I liked it over Thursday's high, but that's now destroyed, so I got nothing there. It's in a range. Look, I got multiple areas of resistance, multiple areas of support. So it could be a condor setup. But nothing that exciting here today. CPRT, I like this. Both as a directional. Let's watch this 10-15 minute high. I'm going to put them here for us. Yeah, look at it. That could be a gap and go. I'm not chasing it, but I like the setup. Let's check out Mitch. Yes, I like Mitch. These are my two favorite gappers here today, Mitch and CPERT. We'll take a look at Splunk, but I like the pre-market right here on this one.